Hey, what's up? I was talking about my beard as the stream went up. Dude, facial hair is a problem. You guys think being bald is easy? No, growing a beard, you gotta maintain that. It's tough. Anyway, hello. My name is Vidya James. I am joined here by my good friend Lana Ruse.
Hello.
Hey. And we're gonna do...
Sorry, why is the chat emote only before we get started?
What did
Okay,
I
there we
do?
go.
How did I undo it?
We're good.
Alright, no more emote only mode. Hello, everybody. This is going to be Harvest Moon Magical Melody. I know we're a little bit behind schedule, so I'm just going to get into it and we can start talking about what we're doing. Real quick in chat, boy or girl? Doesn't matter. Which one do you guys want me to be? Very, very quick 15-second chat poll. Girl, cat girl? Alright, I see 2 girls, 3 girls. Alright, we'll be a girl.
Ooh, 4 girls.
Alright, let's do it. Alright. Oh, hold on. That's start of the timer. Start the timer. Sorry, it's okay. I have a timer on my stream. Okay. So, this is Jamie Glitched Marriage, and that is a couple of things that, you know, I'll have to explain. If you're unfamiliar with this game in general, marriage category is simple. Just marry, you know, a bachelor or bachelorette. But Jamie in particular is very special because they are the main sort of antagonist / rival in this game. And as such, they have a bunch of extra requirements in order to marry them. So, for reference, excluding Jamie, the longest marriage category is 1 hour and 15 minutes. Jamie marriage, just regular, like glitchless, or not glitchless, but just the regular marriage is like 3 hours, just because there's so much you have to do. A lot of requirements, and it's really not that fun. However, this game is divided up into a couple different categories. So the restricted category is the one that's like most common for marriages. But there's also glitched, which is what we're doing. The difference is there's one really important glitch in this game. It's called the inventory state glitch. More commonly, we just say the dupe glitch, but officially it's inventory state glitch, or ISG, if you will. It's a Ocarina of Time joke. Oh no, I didn't do my furniture right. I pressed the B button. It's fine.
I am so devastated at your menuing, Jamie. How dare you?
Sad. But it's okay. We got a lot of cutscenes now, so I can explain it. So, the inventory state glitch, again, more commonly known as the dupe glitch, is where if you throw any kind of seed and then mash A, B, or X on, you need to get it on the right frame. What happens is you put your inventory into a glitch state where the address in memory that it points to doesn't actually point to the regular inventory. It points to somewhere else in memory. And when you do that, you can try to move stuff around in your inventory, and a bunch of weird stuff happens. So the normal inventory is address 124. If you do the glitch once, you decrement it to 123. And 123 happens to point to your money. Which is why if you do the dupe glitch once, and then try to swap stuff in your inventory, you get a bunch of money. And that's really, really useful, as you might be able to imagine. But it also gives you an infinite inventory, because you can't actually modify your inventory, you're now modifying your money, right? So we use that to our advantage to get infinite items, infinite money, and do most of the marriages basically for free, I would say. Restricted only allows you to do the inventory state glitch once. You can't do it more than once without first undoing it and then doing it again. You're only allowed to use it for infinite items and infinite money. The glitch category, on the other hand, you can do the inventory state glitch as many times as you want. And why that's useful, it's not really useful for most marriage categories, but for Jamie marriage it's incredibly useful, because it just so happens inventory state 87 points to your notes, which are like little achievements that you get for doing certain stuff throughout the game. In order to marry Jamie, you need 50 notes. And that's because you need to heal the Harvest Goddess before you can even propose to Jamie, which is like the main end of like the story of the game. Like literally this run does any percent in roundabout way. So that's the big reason why Jamie Marriage is so long, is because you need to get 50 notes and then heal the Harvest Goddess. But as I just stated, in the glitched category, which is what we're doing, we can do the inventory state glitch, get our inventory state down to 87, and then give us basically all the notes for free. And then we can heal the Harvest Goddess right away. We don't have to do any of that stuff in order to heal the Harvest Goddess, which is great, except Jamie still has a lot of other requirements that are exclusive to them. The big one being ship every single growable crop in the game, which is very, very, very annoying because, well, most growable crops you can just buy on your own. Some of them you have to grow, and some of them just happen to be RNG. And I'm sure Lana used to run Jamie Restricted Marriage, and so she knows the pain of trying to get a strawberry, because it is an RNG crop. Because you can't get strawberry seeds from the get-go, so your two options are either to buy a spring seed, which is 8 or I guess 9 random crops that grow in spring, and just hope that one of them is a strawberry, so it's just random that way. The other option is to ship, I think it's 50 herbs, and then you get strawberry seeds in the, yeah.
I think it's cabbages.
Is it cabbages? Okay, yeah, you
It's
ship
cabbages.
50 cabbages, which isn't hard, it's just time consuming.
Mm-hmm.
Beyond that, you need to grow turnips, you need to grow cabbages, because you can't buy those fully grown. You need to grow tomatoes in summer, which are also annoying because they're the only summer crop that you need to grow, but also you can get a random weather event in summer called a typhoon, which can randomly destroy your crops, which means you can just randomly lose a tomato and then lose a ton of progress just because you had bad RNG. And in the fall, you need to grow yams and eggplant, and that's it. The rest you can just buy on your own. So that, you think like, oh, I guess we just need to do a bunch of farming. And it is true, we do a bit of farming in this run. However, I, through a bunch of trial and error, discovered that for some reason, inventory state 88, which is one more than 87, so 36 dupe glitches in a row, just so happens to modify your shipped crops inventory. If you can believe that, it's just so coincidentally, one before the one you need to do anyway, modifies your shipped crops. And so I did a bunch of testing with this, and I found there are 5 crops that you can glitch into your shipped inventory. And those are... One sec, I just gotta... This. Those crops are potatoes, breadfruit, which both you can buy those, so those don't matter. Cabbages, which are pretty nice. Cabbages are decent, I would say. And then the last two. One sec here. Here. Okay.
Beautiful.
The last two that you can grow, or the last two that you can glitch into your inventory, are strawberries and tomatoes.
No.
I am not joking. The two most annoying crops in the game. And you can just glitch them in your inventory for free. Isn't that whack?
So the interesting part is too, all of this sounds incredible, and you might be saying, well, Jamie, what the heck? Why don't we all just do this all the time? This is so good. Well, all I'll say is just hold on. Anybody who has carpal tunnel or is aspiring to have carpal tunnel at some point in their
I'll
life,
get there
this
eventually.
category's for you.
Yeah.
We'll see a lot of intense mashing that will help us to access these states.
The good news is that mashing is over in the first 20 minutes or so of the run. So a lot of it is fine. A lot of it is just, oh, hey, it's raining. All right. So yeah, a lot of this is just monotonous, repetitive stuff, but you'll see what happens. Oh, hold on a sec.
I think one of the main things as well with Harvest Moon speedruns, one of the most important things to know with these runs is that it's not about these high action movements. It's not about these mind-bending skill demonstrations, but rather one of the beautiful parts of all of these runs is that all of these games are so perfectly able to be broken open in the most devastating ways. For
Mhm.
all of us that spent a lot of our childhood spending hours and hours learning how to efficiently farm, it's actually sort of satisfying to spend time to figure out how can I do this 10 times faster. Unfortunately, a side effect of doing this 10 times faster means that it's really cool in the discovery process to learn how to break it apart. We will admit, we want to keep you here, but we will admit the run gets significantly more boring the faster it gets.
Yeah.
In general competitiveness and whatnot. But it's still super cool to learn the tech behind it.
Alright, so I need to find a very berry. It's very important that I find that. It is pretty crucial, I would say, to the success of the run. I also need an herb, so I'll grab that. But yeah, I'm just gonna look around, and normally I would just reset if I get bad RNG like this, but because it's a marathon, I can't reset. So we're just gonna have to look around and hope we find one relatively soon.
I love what Kari says over here as well. Enjoying the glitches, but also enjoying having to mess with the route on the fly when days don't go right. And that's another big part of Harvest Moon speedruns in general, is that there is a lot of game knowledge that goes into this. And a lot of experimentation to figure out the most optimal ways to either get people to move, get people to like you, get people to, do whatever. And there's the berry.
It's also very important that they're in that order in my inventory, which I'll get into a little bit later. But yeah, I think this more than anything, this route is just, when I was doing any percent, which is this minus a couple things, my first thought was like, wow, this could be really useful for Jamie marriage. And then I routed this out, and it ended up being quite interesting and kind of a compelling route. This is a safety save. It is, it is not completely out of the question that this run might die. So I'm making a safety save here. I wouldn't normally go into my house and do that, but because there is potential for this run to just randomly die, I'll just play it safe. And yeah, so we're going to Spring Farm. A little bit late. That's unfortunate. That's like one of the two big RNG fests of the run. So one right at the beginning, and then there's Mountain Climb at the end, which you have to do in every single marriage category, so it's just kind of a given. I did a lot of trial and error with the dupe glitch, and I could not find a way to like mess with anything else that's useful. Like, I think when you do the dupe glitch 3 times, you can affect your time of day, which is kind of cool, but it's not really useful.
Yeah, it was mainly setting the time to like 99 o'clock.
Yeah.
So not even super optimal times of day either.
Mm-hmm. So we're just starting here. As I mentioned earlier, in order to do the dupe glitch, you need to get seeds. And so we'll see our first instance of it. We're gonna do the dupe glitch only once to start. And this is just to get some money so that I can increase my inventory and buy a pot.
We're all about that pot.
Here, we'll see how many tries this takes me.
So what we're looking for here as well with the dupe, the way that you know it works is that rather than seeing your stamina bump by 1, you see a double. It's a little tricky to recognize if you're not familiar with it, but if you watch that stamina bar on the right-hand side, it drops much more significantly than it does if you're just doing one action.
Dude, I can't get this. There we go.
There it is.
And now you see I try to swap my inventory, and now my money just skyrockets.
Whoop.
And then we get note saying, wow, you're extremely rich.
Yeah, so as Jamie had mentioned, all of these musical notes in the story are used to save the harvest goddess from when she turned herself to stone, saying, oh no, everyone is awful and they suck. And then you have to complete various tasks around the village to help restore her faith in humanity again. And all of these music notes work towards that. Whether it's through, yeah, like farming tasks, taking care of animals, getting to know people, just random tasks around the village.
So as I mentioned earlier, we're going to the junk shop here. We need a lot of items in our inventory. It's just extremely useful for later on in the run. And we also need this so that we can get our inventory into a state where we can glitch the right items where we need them to go. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy the 2 things. I'm going to go back to the spring farm and I'm going to buy items in a very specific order. Because not only is it like the items that you swap matter, but also where they are, their position in your inventory also matters. So again, this was done through a lot of trial and error on my own to figure out what actually worked, but I did find something that gives us everything that we, could possibly hope to ever give. So, I just mashed through this cutscene. This is Michael's like, boo-hoo, I have a dead wife. My deadbeat daughter keeps blowing things up. That's all I gather. I just mashed through the text.
Yeah, it's basically what I describe as thinly veiled misogyny. Saying, I wish my daughter was more ladylike, but instead she builds machines. Disgusting. Yeah, rips to Mrs. Michael. F's in chat, please.
Alright, so now I'm going to go back to the spring farm and I'm going to do 37 dupe glitches. And hopefully they don't all take me 5 tries like the first one did. Yeah. I do have a way to kind of keep track of how many dupes I've done, and I'll explain it once we get into it. Alright, so I'm going to buy breadfruit, the evergreen sapling, turnip seed, potato, another turnip seed, a grass seed, and then turnip seeds as many as I can carry, and just get a bunch extra. This is just going into my storage at home. That's going to be for later. Alright, so here we go. Here's 36 dupes in a row. Okay, that's the first one. I'm gonna... Oops. Eat the very berry. So we can still eat stuff. As I mentioned, we have infinite of everything in our inventory, so I can eat as many of these as I want. But here we go. So that's the first one. And I'm just looking at my stamina to see if I got it or not. Fortunately, Nina is here, so I gotta steer clear of her.
So that's another thing. Sorry, Jamie, go ahead.
If I get too close to Nina and I press A in front of her to talk to her and you mess up the glitch.
So as Jamie does this, I also encourage anyone that has any questions about the game, about the speedrun, anything, to feel free to drop those in the chat as well, because we're going to be here for a bit as we do the dupe. And with all of this, I think another important thing to see that's super fun is the menu, the C-stick menu, where you see all of your items, gets destroyed. At first, different items, it just looks like they're sort of overlapping each other, and it's a little more challenging to see what they are unless you look at the text. And then as you see where we're at now, it's just locked. It's just turnip seeds all the way down.
Yeah. And this is actually going to be a way for me to tell how many dupes I have. There is a system. Once I hit 10, I can cycle through my inventory again. And you see, that's why I'm doing this every single time. Just to like see when do I get to 10. I think that's 9. We'll see. And once I get to 10, I can get to that very berry and restore my stamina. There we go. Okay, so this is 10. And so what I found is that from here on out, every third dupe that I do will unlock my inventory again. So when I do one more dupe, it'll be locked again when I'm on 11, and then when I get up to 13, it'll let me rotate through my inventory for real again. So we're still on 10 right now because I messed up that dupe. There's 11, and now my inventory is locked. So now it's just every 3 dupes that I do will unlock my inventory again. So there's 13, and then you see my inventory is unlocked because I'm at 13.
Yeah, honestly, this is all Jamie. So I have to say, I am purely the motivational woohoo in the background.
Spring break.
Nice work. I get to hear about this, and then cheer along as it's happening. So yeah, this was all Jamie figuring stuff out. So absolutely give him all the yes.
So we are into 16 now. So we got to do 20 more dupes. And again, what I'm doing here is I'm decrementing the inventory. That was a double, I think. I'm decrementing the inventory state from 124 all the way to 88, which points to my shipped crops in the game's memory.
So Jardis asks a very important question here. The blue feather is not an inventory item, right? Well, fun story. It is. And the reason why that's important to remember is, as Jamie had said, with your inventory, when it's glitched and in this glitched state, you have infinite of whatever is in your pouch, but you cannot swap out items. And the reason that's important to know is if you get the blue feather and you try to put it in your pocket when you're in a glitched state, it disappears forever. And the game already understands that it's provided you with a blue feather. So unless you go back to a previous save, which then unglitches your inventory by loading, that's the two ways. You can either buy a bigger rucksack and it unlocks your inventory, or you reload a previous save and that unlocks it. Otherwise, yeah, your blue feather's gone forever. Bye.
So that's 25. Doing well here. 26.
Awesome. Solid progress. So yeah, it's very effective when you have everything you need in your inventory, but that's why you have to be very sure that you take out everything you need for the length of the run for however long your inventory is going to be duped. Now, once again, it is super easy to exit the dupe state. It just means saving and reloading. So it takes only a few seconds, but if you're planning on, being out in the field doing something, you have to come all the way back to your house, do that, go back, it's a whole thing.
There's 28. Just gonna run away from Nina.
Yeah, it's sort of like when you're trying to dupe with your dog around and you accidentally start feeding your dog things. Definitely not speaking from experience.
29, so 7 more. That's 31, and so from here we just got to do 5 more, so this will be the last berry that I eat, just to be safe. Oh boy.
And another thing to note with the dupe as well is we only use stacks of 1 turnip seed at a time. So when you are buying the turnips, it's really important to not buy multiple sacks at once because it stacks them. So you can be holding, I don't know what the max amount is, maybe 9 or maybe more. I haven't checked. But you can hold a lot of those items. But for dupe purposes, you need to only have them in stacks of 1, otherwise it won't work.
Yep. Oh boy. Bunch of fails in a row right at the end as your hands get tired. There we go. This is 34. Extra save, so we got 2 more here. Gonna walk to the other side of the store here.
Almost there, you got this.
Okay, that's 35. Okay. And so I swap evergreen with nothing, and then evergreen with the grass seed, and then potato with green herb. And now if you look at my shipped crops, whoa, it says I have a bunch of all of these crops. Isn't that cool? I never shipped these, but they're certainly in my shipped inventory. So that is the result of doing 36 dupes in a row. And so now I have to do 1 more dupe here. There we go, perfect. And now I'm gonna swap the breadfruit with the evergreen sapling, and that makes it so that I have a bunch of notes. And so this means I can just go straight to the Harvest Goddess Pond, and yeah, just watch the credits unfold.
Now, you can't see JB's splits here, but we can let you know that the length of getting all of the instruments in order to finish any percent, as well as the credit sequence that we have to watch for this, is what would you say?
18
Approximately
minutes. 18 minutes in total.
18 minutes long.
It is 9 minutes of watching the instruments spawn and occasionally pressing A. And then the second half of 9 minutes, there's 0 inputs. You just hands off the controller.
It's loads of fun. 18 minutes. It is a good 18 minutes. You are right, Canadian Summer. So here's all the story that you're getting with no context. It's wonderful. We always like to joke in marriage runs that you go through the whole intro to the story and then you do exactly none of it because we never do anything to help the harvest goddess. We actually actively avoid helping the harvest goddess in most marriage runs. If we can leave notes behind, we'll do it. It's time lost to watch the cutscenes. But yeah, in this one, it's all of the harvest goddess support with none of the other context. It's
Exactly. And yeah, I'm just occasionally mashing A, but now is as good a time as any. If you guys just want to kick back, relax, enjoy an adult beverage with me. Cheers, gamers, to a Saturday night. Thanks for hanging out with us. Harvest Moon speedrun summer 2023.
Let us know your beverage of choice in the comment section below.
What are you drinking, Lana?
So I was sick this week, so I am drinking hot water with lemon honey and ginger.
Moonshine, classic.
I am not drinking coffee this late because I would like to. Oh, you wait, Heinz is drinking coffee. Yeah, sorry. I thought you were asking if I was drinking coffee because that is my go-to. However, it is late.
It is
and
late. Was that a Monster Energy emote? Oh my god.
Ayo. Another thing to note is, haha. Every single time you get an instrument, you also notice that the Harvest Goddess Spring is coming back to life. So we've got like the second level of totally neutral random harvest sprites that show up. You've got these fun little green fairy lights. It's becoming a rave in here as we get a new instrument. So keep watching for the new fun characters that are joining Arthur, Billy, and Carlos. And
ABC.
ABC. D is for
Daddy. That's Bob.
our harvest daddy. No, that's the male main character.
Yeah.
D for dump truck.
Oh my god. So yeah, this cutscene, we watch it 9 times in a row with 9 different instruments. There's like a bit in the middle where you get a fruit and then Jamie comes in and gets mad. But other than that, there's not a ton here. So I guess, yeah, I can explain now. Again, I showed the ship crops that I was able to get: strawberries, tomatoes, potatoes, breadfruit, and cabbages. Again, cabbages are just kind of like nice to have. Like, it doesn't matter because you grow turnips anyway. So you could just grow a cabbage in succession. So the cabbage is like a small time save. As I mentioned earlier, strawberries and tomatoes are extremely important. And we're so lucky that we can cut them out because it means that this category now has like minimal RNG. It's literally just the overworld spawns right at the beginning of the run and the mountain climb. And that's it. That's all the RNG you have to deal with in the run. The only other RNG is like, maybe you get rain while you're growing your crops, and then it's just like, okay, that's lucky, I guess. But it's never going to be like impactful.
And my favorite part of the run is the heavy menuing. Get me a good amount of menuing and I am happy.
That's what we're doing, like, from here on out. Like, I was just about to say, like, the hard part of the run is over now that I've done all the dupes. And I did mention that there is a way for the run to die. That is now over. There's no way for the run to die, aside from my game randomly crashing now. Because it is possible to do the dupe glitch twice in one go. It's called the double dupe. And normally it's really bad because you don't want to get your inventory state decremented by 2. You just want to decrement it by either 1 or you want to get it all the way to 36, 37. What can happen is at any point I can get the double dupe either like the first dupe that I did, just get money. If that's a double dupe, the run is dead. If I'm at 35 dupes and I get a double dupe, then the run is dead because I've skipped over 36. And then again, when I'm at 36, if I double dupe, then I skip over 37 and the run is dead. So that's why I did a safety save. Luckily, it didn't happen. But for a lot of that, like double dupes are actually really nice because obviously you're trying to get the number all the way up to 36. So it actually makes it faster if you get a bunch of double dupes. Just at the end, it can kill your run. And there's not really much you can do about it. Like, it's just kind of luck if it happens. I think it was mentioned, I think Desert said that, like, you can do it up to 6 times in one go. Like, you can get a 6 sextuple dupe. However, if you do 7, the game crashes, which is very funny. But that's not really humanly achievable. Like, the most I've ever gotten is a triple dupe, and that was, like, once ever. Hey, look, it's a cello, as they say.
As they say.
Alright, this is supposed to be like the midway cutscene, but it's actually like 2/3 of the way there.
And this is also a power berry. So it's something that is shown very briefly here. But throughout the game, you can also collect power berries, which are a way of extending your health or stamina bar. I'll call it a stamina bar. And yeah, you get them for completing various tasks, like getting to the bottom of one of the mines or winning various festivals. Why? And yeah, they're super awesome, especially when you want to actually be doing more tasks throughout the day. Once again, for the purposes of this run, it doesn't really matter how much stamina we have.
It sort of works to the detriment of this run. It's not really that impactful, but we do want to pass out at some point. So yeah. Fortunately, there's a section where we can just get our stamina all the way down without any real time loss, no matter how big your stamina bar is. So it's a rare black flute.
Beauty.
I think we just have the guitar and then the trumpet, and that's it.
I also just want to point out that there's a beautiful point in Jamie's notes right now where it just says movie night.
Yep.
And I love that.
Kick back and relax, bro.
Those pink flowers were my favorite as a kid. For some reason, I just thought those were the coolest thing.
They're pretty cool.
But yeah, as you see, the spring is livening. Is that a good word?
I think it's bit of a missed opportunity for this game to do that thing where, like, as you get more and more of these, like the music also like adds to it, or like the music adds more instruments and gets more detailed. Like Yoshi's Island does that. Paper Mario Origami King does that really well. Love it when games do that. All right, last instrument here.
Yeah, so once again, all of these are supposed to be spread out a little bit more in a casual playthrough. You are generally at the start of the game, it's like, oh, you come back every so often when you get 5 notes. Come check us out. But once again, it's just faster for our purposes to just do it all in one go. But yeah, casual playthrough, you don't need to sit through all of these cutscenes. It is a very intermittent thing coming to see the Harvest Goddess.
Again, the only reason we're doing this is because it's faster to just get this all done in one go, but also because I gave myself like a million notes right away.
Yes.
Look, there's a rabbit.
Yeah, I cannot overstate that being able to beat this game to credit in just over half an hour is incredible. And so much different from where we were at even 2-3 years ago, I guess, when I had started. Because when I started, getting to credits was about, 2.5 to 3 hours, I think, at that point. So the fact that we've got it down to where we can really break it apart and beat it in just over half an hour is incredible. Normally, time would end right at that.
Yeah, that's any percent right there. So yeah, now, as I mentioned, complete no inputs for the next 9 minutes. So I was thinking, what can we do in this time? What can we do make this a little more interesting, you know, as we're just waiting, watching the credits here. And I came up with an idea.
Oh my gosh!
You're
kidding.
Got Ocarina of Time here, you know, one of my favorite games as a kid, you know. Loved playing this game growing up, so I figured, you know, we might just have a little casual playthrough of Ocarina of Time while we wait, huh? The game's in French, don't worry about that. I can't read it.
I can. Wait a minute.
French, like I said, unreadable. You know, every good casual playthrough, you know, remember playing this game as a kid, first thing you do is go get the sword, right? The Kokiri sword?
Does the game try to give more notes for achievements? So there are actually 100 notes in the game, so getting to any percent of the 50 notes does not mean that you have actually completed the game. You can still go up to 100, but this is just the credits for the casual playthrough.
Yeah. Look, I got the sword. You know, we're just having a good old casual, fun playthrough of Ocarina of Time for a little bit as we wait. Remember, you played this game growing up, right?
Did I?
You played this game growing up, right?
Yeah. So actually, I tried playing it when we first got our GameCube because it came with the collector's edition that came with the first, second Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask. I could not figure it out.
Yep.
And then when I was about 12 years old, I got an issue of Nintendo Power. And inside Nintendo Power, it said that Ocarina of Time was one of the most highly rated, like highly acclaimed video games of all time. And I said, wait a minute, I think I actually have that game. So then I went back, pulled it out, and I played it for the first time with a little bit of support through the Water Temple and beyond. Thank you, online walkthroughs. And ever since then, Legend of Zelda has been my favorite game series of all time. So I was late to it. I was almost a teenager when I got into Legend of Zelda, but I have not stopped.
Of course. Same here. I'm still playing these games to this day. I'm right there with you. I'm just getting a little money here, as you do. Beginning of this very extremely casual playthrough. I'm gonna remind you. Remember doing this? Get the sword and shield, get past Mido, go to the Deku tree.
This was definitely how I turned into my casual playthroughs as time went on. There was a period of time in my late teen years where I decided I needed to memorize this game. So I played it back to back. I swear, I think it was 9 times in a row.
Oh my god.
Where it was the only game I ever played because I was desperate to memorize all the temples, and it might have been more. But I definitely played, it was probably 9 to 12 times back to back, and I started playing it in different languages on the 3DS as well for fun. You can switch the language settings, so sometimes I was like, well, I don't need clues anymore because I know where to go. So I played in French, I played in German, and I've still never beaten Master Quest, and I really would love to do that.
Ow. Yeah, me neither. I've never played through Master Quest the whole way either.
No, I only got as far as I think Jabu Jabu's belly because there were cows in the wall. And that's all I remember. I really should get back to it, but it's just really hard to find
time.
The game in general. And time, yeah.
Oh yeah, the game as well.
So this is the credit sequence of of Harvest Moon Magical Melody. This is, I don't know what you're talking about, Noctis. This is a normal, this shows through the Harvest Moon Magical Melody credits every single time, actually. You may not have never noticed, and that's fine. It takes a really observant person to really notice that Ocarina of Time is baked into Harvest Moon Magical Melody.
Put the whole game in here.
Yeah, it's pretty incredible, actually. The real answer to that is we have completed the any percent portion of Magical Melody, which is required for Jamie marriage. However, there is still the other requirements in order to marry Jamie, the character, not Jamie. And in order to get through this, yeah, there was 9 minutes that required some input, and now there is a 9-minute credit sequence where there's no input from us. We don't need to do anything. So, yeah, this is what we're doing while we wait.
Like I said, just a casual playthrough of Ocarina of Time, you know? Go over to this rock. Stand right about there. Swing your sword, pick it up, you know, just like you'd normally do as a kid, right?
This is how I beat the game. Where are you?
Yeah, that part's a little hard because I need to listen to the music and like count beats as I'm playing, and like I've got 2 songs going on in my, you know, so. Yeah, you know, just doing the old normal Ocarina of Time motions as they go.
Welcome back, Kari.
Anyway, that's Ocarina of Time. That's, of course, how you beat it, you know. Very difficult. This is the end of the game, as we all know. You get there right from Kakiri Forest. Don't worry, again, this is French, unreadable. No big deal. Yeah, that's 2 any percents within another speedrun, if you can believe it.
Speedrunception.
Indeed. If I did this fast enough, I could actually get 2 credits happening at the same time. I think would be really cool. Bonjour, as they say. Oh no, we're already in the special thanks of the Magical Melody credits.
Oh no!
Zelda's looking so sad. Takes the ocarina.
Welcome in, Mally.
Everyone, what's happening?
Average Magical Melody playthrough.
So to answer seriously, this is a segment in the game, 9 minutes, where there's no inputs whatsoever. So I felt like just doing an any percent run of Ocarina of Time.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but O'Malley is actually one of the only other people who has a time on the glitched leaderboard for any percent, I believe.
Yeah, there you go. I think Desert and O'Malley are the only other 2.
The OGs. I tried, but my carpal tunnel gave out. But actually now, Jamie, now that you've found that way of figuring out what number you're at, I think I might be able to try eventually.
Give it a shot. It's 20. I have the record right now. It's 26 minutes. But yeah, here we go. Double credits happening right now.
Woo!
Which is pretty cool.
Oh yeah, Gwen is by far one of the superior bachelorettes of this game.
Gwen rules. Alright, so we're back to, this is the end of the Magical Melody credits, so we will say goodbye to Ocarina of Time, and we'll go back to playing Harvest Moon. Yeah, here we go. Harvest Goddess is healed. And now, the only requirements we have to fulfill with Jamie are, we need to, the normal marriage requirements, which are get them up to 8 hearts, meet Alex, have a big bed, and get the blue feather. With Jamie, the only other requirements we're still kind of missing are the shipping every crop and owning 1 of every animal. So that's what the rest of this run is going to be dedicated to.
And now the Harvest Goddess is back. And that's what happens in a casual playthrough too. It cuts to, congratulations, you brought her back to life. And I'm pretty sure now every time you go in, she fully heals you and all this stuff.
Yes, she does.
Which is super fun. And then you can continue the rest of your playthrough however you so desire.
Mm-hmm. And guess what? Because this is now Spring 5, you know who we still haven't met? 43 minutes into the speedrun?
Carl!
There he is. So I guess one thing to mention as well is that there's a couple things you can do to still mess up this speedrun. In particular, the crops that I've shipped into my, like glitched into my shipped inventory, if I try to ship those again, it'll put it in a state where like breadfruit, for example, I can get it so that like I can never get breadfruit back into my shipped inventory, which is really bad. So I need to pay attention to that. Here I am duping my berry berry and my green herb, and then I'm gonna save and reload. This undoes the dupe glitch. And this is because I'm gonna need to do some cooking and get more items into my inventory.
And also, as you see in the diary, it did say Jamie has 76 notes.
Yeah.
So that's just a result of altering the memory states there. Because evidently we did not collect 76 notes. That would take a very long time.
Mm-hmm. Take these back out. Now we're gonna let him cook, as they say. There's two things I need to cook. The first is going to be a berry berry jam. And this is one of the loved gifts for Jamie. So we're gonna gift this over and over once we dupe again. It's just a note for cooking. Very cool. And now we are going to also cook a green herb. This is going to give us an herb tea, and we're going to give this to Kurt later in the run so that we can befriend him. Because we need to befriend one of the carpenters to Kurt 1 so that we can get the big bed. So now I am ready to dupe again. Perfect. First try.
Nice.
And there, a double dupe doesn't kill the run there, really.
Mhm.
So thankfully we're fine. And so now, again, I want to be very careful to only ship things that I care about. So we want to ship the green herb. Oh wait, I did this wrong. That's fine. Here, I can fix this. Sorry. I forgot to do one thing. So what I'm going to do here is I'm actually going to undo the dupe glitch and do it again. There's 2 items I forgot to put in my inventory. It's fine. This section here. Now it says I have 100 notes, by the way, because I got an extra note. So it's just like, it's a glitched value at this point.
Mm-hmm.
What I forgot to do was get the hoe and the watering can. Now I will dupe again. Gonna play it safe here. I do want to keep at least 1 turnip seed in my inventory, but yeah, there we go.
Nice.
All right, now we're back on track. So now I'm going to use my iron hoe if I can find it. This is, yeah, as you can see, the inventory does get a little messed up when you glitch. Hey, money. I don't need that. Look at my money. Throw this. Water this. And now we begin an extremely boring process of this run, which is just we're going to go to Jamie every single day from now until summer 12. And we're just going to gift them the jam.
So one thing to note is that in most marriage runs, you do this thing called gift spamming, where you meet a person in one day and you're able to give them a gift and then repeatedly give them a gift. And how that works is they get affection points every time you talk to them for the first time in a day. They get affection points for the first gift you give them. And then they stop getting those first affection points throughout the day. But one thing that doesn't stop, which the game apparently did not take into account, is that every time that the character puts away an item, they also gain affection points. And that doesn't stop every time you give them a gift. So in every other marriage run, you're able to build up people's affection really quickly by giving them gifts over and over and over in the same day. However, there is one person in the game that does not abide by that rule, and you're looking at them.
Yep. Yep.
So, unfortunately for Jamie, you are only able to give them 1 gift a day. Otherwise, they will verbally abuse you.
Mhm.
Jamie is very rude. I believe. Well, okay, wait. When do you get the voice line "stupid, stupid, stupid"? I think that's if you try to propose a bit too early. I
Yes,
think.
exactly. It's either stupid, 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 or knock it off. There's both of them. I've seen both of them. I don't know when which one happens versus the other.
So yeah, during the entire game, Jamie really plays up that whole antagonist, I'm your rival thing by completely being the rudest ever to you all the time. I'm gonna see if I can dig up a paste bin of Jamie's voice lines to figure out the worst thing they ever say to you.
So I know a bunch of them because I go through all of them. I see them. So there's it's like, don't trust them. They have no power. I'm talking about the harvest sprites, you know, or something like that. There's, I just hate looking at your stupid little face is one that's pretty vain. So what I know actually is like when you get Jamie up to 7 hearts, the line is like, if you want to become strong, it's like you have to protect something. You need to learn to protect her or anyone. And when I see that, I know I only need to do 4 more days of gifting. There's, what else is there? I'm trying to think. I go through all of them, but I also mash through it, so. Alright, so I need to watch out for festivals as well, because Jamie is not outside during festivals. So I just sleep in my bed when that happens and it's faster. Because we need to get to fall anyway, so generally sleeping is pretty fast. It's a good idea. Yeah, so our turnip is done. So this is the only other crop I need to grow in spring. If there was a way to glitch a turnip into your shipped inventory, I would love to hear it, but unfortunately, there doesn't really seem to be a way for that to happen. Also, yeah, Jamie, when you gift Jamie a loved gift, they just say, I'm not particularly happy, which is very funny. Oh, here's a little bit of, so you just saw her say, I hate rain there. As you get Jamie's affection up, they actually change what they say from I hate rain to she also hated rain, and then they look very sad. And that's supposed to be a reference to the harvest goddess, I think. I think. Who else would it be?
I also like this one here. Apparently, if you gift Jamie a disliked gift, they say, this is harassment.
That's very funny. Woo! Yeah, don't rely on them. I'm talking about the harvest sprites. They have no power. Actively trying to dissuade you away from the task at hand.
We learn a lot about Jamie, though, through those cutscenes where we saw in those instrument cutscenes, Jamie saying pretty much like, stuff like, I need to be the one to save her. I've been doing this. Get out of here. I don't need your help.
Very mean. Very mean. But yeah, again, this part of the speedrun is very, very boring because I'm literally doing this for an entire month.
And we can talk oh, sorry, go for it.
Just to get Jamie up to 8 hearts. This is all we do. Yeah.
And I was just going to mention that one of the first decisions in this game, you may have seen, but it goes by really quickly. When you start the game, you are able to choose which plot of land you would like to purchase. And there are 3 options. There's the town plot, there's the ocean plot, and there's the river plot. And the town plot is described as centrally located. It's quite small, but close to local amenities, so it's handy. There's the ocean plot, which is quite large, but the land isn't fertile. So it's very good for having barns, having animals, but there's not a lot of good soil. There's multiple levels of soil in the game you see based on how dark the ground is. The darker the ground, the more fertile the soil, the better crops you grow. And then there's the river plot, which is described as the fertile land. It's really great to grow crops. Kind of a good all-around plot, and personally one of my favorites as a casual player.
There's really no disadvantage to the river plot.
No. River is medium-sized, and in my personal opinion, it is much closer to the important local amenities than the town plot anyways.
Yeah.
In particular, you know, the wood shop, the Blue Sky Ranch, the Spring Farm. Town plot is close to the mayor's office, the doctors, the junk shop, but those are places you honestly don't really go too often compared to the other places.
Mhm.
So if you're a casual player and you're thinking about where you might like to start your plot, and it's right next to Bob, which totally doesn't matter. I don't know what you're thinking about. Um, but River is also a really great choice for this speedrun because since we're walking to Jamie every single day, it's really important to be relatively close to
Yeah.
them. Otherwise, it takes forever.
So there's a couple reasons why I choose the river plot here. As I mentioned, this is like mildly close to Jamie's ranch, which is great because we walk there a lot. I think the town plot is like roughly the same distance. Maybe it's a little closer actually. But there's other things you need in this speedrun. There's multiple trips to the workshop, as well as we go to Blue Sky Ranch, so that's useful. And we do multiple trips to Spring Farm as well, which is closest to, well, it's closest to Ocean Plot. But Ocean Plot is pretty far away from Jamie, so River Plot works out pretty well in that case as well. It also, as Lana mentioned, it has the most fertile land, which is great for growing crops pretty quickly. That matters more in the fall than here, but it's nice to have your crops grow faster. Unfortunately, one of the trade-offs of not picking the ocean plot is that we don't have enough room for both the barn and the chicken coop that we need in order to get all the animals, because I mentioned earlier we need one of every animal that you can purchase in order to marry Jamie, which is very silly, but it is what it is. And so as it turns out as well, when you're on the menu and like you buy a barn and you need to move the barn over, for whatever reason, the game starts the barn in like the middle of the map and you need to move it over to whichever land you want to put it on. And it just so happens that the town plot is big enough for both a level 2 barn and a chicken coop, and it is the closest of the three to that center spot where it starts you. So in that sense, buying the town plot specifically for the coop and the barn is the optimal choice. So that's all in all, it works out that river plot is just way better than the other ones because it balances out basically everything you need in this run.
Mm-hmm. Especially for a casual player as well. Once again, even though they say town is centrally located, you want to go up into the mountains if you're trying to access the lake mine, especially in winter. It's just honestly more central in the map. I think it's almost in the dead center of the map if you look at a map. Maybe a little further to the left, but it's really good. It's really nice.
Yeah, Jamie marriage. I'm having so much fun.
So funny enough, I always like to talk about the history of marriage runs in particular with Harvest Moon. So you know a little bit about where we came from and where we're going. So with marriage runs, how it started was when I joined anyways, we were under the impression, because screw the game manual, it tells you in order to get married, you need to have 20 musical notes on top of the other requirements like, hearts with them, a bigger house, all of that. So one thing that we were routing was collecting 20 musical notes throughout. And we hadn't discovered gift spamming at the time, so we were doing this with every single character, which is crafting their loved gift and then walking all the way across the map to give them their gift every single day in order to get the talking and the loved gift. And in fact, I don't think even when I'd started, we didn't really know much about the talking affection. That was something that I had figured out when I suddenly had runs that were ending way sooner than I should have. And then over time, we found out that I forget exactly how one of our community members there, they discovered that all of a sudden you don't actually need all the musical notes. So we started, I think it was 30 musical notes actually. We started slowly lowering the amount of notes we needed to try to figure out what the limit was. And it turns out we found out there is no limit. You don't need a single music note to get married. There are some you collect automatically. First Steps is given to you just by starting the game. And other notes you just collect as part of your gameplay. The one thing, I learned this the hard way because one of the notes I decided to take out was the limitation note, which you get for fainting and ending up in Alex's clinic. And unfortunately, that is the one that you do need. You don't need the note, but you need to meet Alex, the doctor.
Yep.
Why we need to do this is not 100% sure, but we're fairly certain it's because when you get married, it starts a little timer where either you, if you're playing as a girl, or your spouse, if you're playing as a boy, becomes pregnant.
Gregnan.
And those cutscenes, I know, right? Pregante. And all those cutscenes take place in the clinic. And I believe if you haven't unlocked the clinic, maybe it just doesn't exist. I don't know.
So that's, yeah, I thought that for a while. And I mean, it mostly holds water, except for the fact that meeting Alex is also a requirement to marry Jamie, which you can't have a baby with. So
that's a good point.
Yeah. So
who knows?
One thing that's interesting is when you satisfy all the normal marriage requirements, Mr. Theodore comes to your door and he says, "Hey, isn't it about time you got married?" And then he introduces you to the concept of climbing the mountain and getting the blue feather so that you can propose. What's interesting is that if you are trying to marry Jamie, you can satisfy the normal marriage requirements, but not the Jamie specific ones. And Theodore will still come to your door and say, "Hey, it's time to get married." So even if Theodore comes to your door and you get the blue feather, that's still not a guarantee that you've satisfied all of Jamie's requirements. It's very weird, but I mean, I'm sure they didn't pay too much attention to how that was coded. They were just trying to make a cute little ranch simulator video game, right? So it is what it is. We just got to roll with the punches.
Mm-hmm. And you'll see, I don't want to spoil anything too major about what happens at the end of this run, but yeah, there are reasons when Jamie says you can't have a baby with Jamie and all of this sort of stuff. It makes sense when you get to the end of this.
Yeah.
But yeah, essentially it is interesting. This is the one instance where you can get the blue feather and then present it to your chosen partner and they will deny you.
Yeah.
Now, I think I 100% cannot say for sure, but I think maybe if you could get the blue feather, and if you were taking your time and not giving it to your partner right away, there's a chance that maybe if they dropped to 7 hearts, they may say no. I'm not sure. I haven't tested it. But this is an instance where your partner will have the 8 hearts and will say no thanks. Actually, they'll say stupid, stupid, stupid.
Yep. I'm just gonna crack open another one. Still got I would say about 40 minutes left in this run.
Mm-hmm.
And then we'll be on our merry way off to, what's the next run? I know it's Desert. Friends of Mineral Town, Papuri Marriage, Glitchless.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
I've never played Friends of Mineral Town myself, but I know it's one of the classics.
I want to hear from all of you. Have you played And if so, tell us your favorite memory of playing Magical Melody. We see so little of this game in our runs, and there is a lot of depth to this game. In fact, it is my favorite Harvest Moon game. I know that's an unpopular opinion for some, but I played this a lot as a kid, and I've loved it because it's a very vibrant town that grows the more you play it. There are 21 possible bachelors and bachelorettes in this game. So many characters to meet, loads of festivals to play, and I don't know. I really love this itself. I'll share my memory here. I wouldn't say it's my favorite, but it's my most traumatizing memory. When I first played this game, I was young, and I could not find the fodder bin inside the barn. So I just thought the animals ate normally, and then all of a sudden one of my animals got sick, and there's a fun cutscene that plays if your animal gets sick, and it's your character having a nightmare that your animal dies, and then Hank shows up, berates you for not taking care of your animal, and you hold a funeral for that animal over its gravesite.
Yep.
Terrifying. And the knock, he does this knock on your door that is different than any other knock in the game, and it's
terrifying. It is terrifying.
It really is.
Yeah.
So, yeah, imagine being a kid and having that happen. Sorry, Jamie, go ahead.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, one of the requirements for Jamie is owning one of every animal. And it just so happens that once you get those animals and you sleep once, then you get a cutscene regardless of Hank teaching you how to take care and feed your animals, right?
Yeah.
Because of this, we read around this, and specifically, it is literally the last thing we do before we give the blue feather to Jamie is buy all those animals, so we don't have to deal with that cutscene.
It's long.
Yeah, it is a long cutscene, yeah.
Retro says, my favorite memory is when my sister had hours without saving and married Ray and then the power went out.
So tragic.
No! Car, you should definitely play this. I highly recommend for everybody. I think the Wii version is only EU. But if you are going to play this game and you are looking online, you will see that the Wii version is cheaper. Please do not get it.
Yeah.
If you're able to find a GameCube copy of this game or access this game on GameCube through other means, wink, wink, I highly recommend it because the Wii version has motion controls and takes away the option to play as a girl. So, devastating. Why they did that, I have no clue. It's literally the next gen release. We took away half the features. Oh, Josh has Wii version. Rip.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, if you look online, it's only like $6, and the GameCube version's like $60. So it's tempting, but it's eh.
So we're in summer now. We only need to continue this gift spam up until summer 12. Again, there's a random weather event called a typhoon that if I get it, it means I can't leave for the day. If I do get it, it's not time loss because I need to sleep through the rest of the days of summer anyway. So typhoons are fine. I just need to pay attention and listen and see when it happens so I know not to try to go outside. But if it does happen, I'll need to add an extra day of gifting to Jamie. But otherwise, summer 12 will be the last day of gifting. I mean, yeah, just the inflation of GameCube games in general is starting to take effect. Like, Melee's like $80 now at best. It is, some of those games are commodities at this point.
Yeah, like I'm looking on eBay here, and most of them like are $50. Some are less, but honestly, I would recommend, like, you can probably find it at a local game store or even garage sales if you get lucky. But yeah, a lot of GameCube games are extremely expensive right now.
I think that's partly the scarcity because the GameCube didn't sell in relation to, you know, that other console that just happened to release at the same time as the GameCube, you know. There's maybe a little discrepancy in sales that might have contributed to the overall supply, you know. It's truly unfortunate because I think the GameCube's a really good console. It just happened to exist at the same time as the PS2, which, you know, is also a very good console for, you know, obvious reasons, so.
Yeah, I grew up in a strictly Nintendo household, so GameCube was my baby. Awesome, only one more week of jam.
It's true, the PS2 was a very cheap DVD player. Like, what, 152 million, something like that, consoles sold? Ridiculous. In that era of consoles, ridiculous.
Yeah, I guess that's my fun fact, is I've actually never owned a PlayStation. Not a single one.
It's got a lot of fantastic games on it. Obviously really dated now, but the old PlayStations had some games that I still go back to and play every now and then.
Mm-hmm. I did have my cousin had an original PlayStation, and every time I went over to his house, I played Spyro,
Of
the
course,
original
classic.
Spyro the Dragon.
Those are some of the best games.
Incredible.
Original PlayStation, absolutely.
Mhm.
One of my favorites is a game called Shadow of the Colossus, which is a PlayStation 2 game, and
Oh, so good.
it has been remade like 100 times. Like there was a port for the PS3, and then the PlayStation 4 I think got like a huge graphical overhaul, and that game is absolutely gorgeous. The remaster, and it's still everything you love about the original. So highly recommend. Yeah, that game kicks ass.
Hmm. I only played it for the first time. I guess it would have been, yeah, about 3 or 4 years ago now. Um, Beautiful.
Yeah.
So much fun. But yeah, I came from a Nintendo household.
Of course, yeah, this was the first Harvest Moon game I ever owned. I think I've only owned 3 separate Harvest Moon games. I have Tree of Tranquility as well for the Wii. And I got Harvest Moon on the SNES on Wii Virtual Console, and that's it. Those are the only Harvest Moon games I played.
I've played more because of our game of the month that we used to do, so I did make it through quite a few more. But the only ones that I played growing up were this one and then Harvest Moon Island of Happiness on DS. And that one was good until I did the entire marriage, had a kid, all of that. And then one day my game file just corrupted. And I could never really get the momentum back to play it all again.
Goodbye forever.
Yeah, sorry, Elliot. I had a couple more days of giving all this jam.
Yep. And
then at least we got the hearts up.
And then we are going to sleep until fall. And then the run becomes kind of interesting again.
Yeah, then there's a lot to do. And that's what I had mentioned before about the knowledge aspect is it's a really big part of routing anyways, and getting to know when you can do certain things, what the requirements are for doing certain things. For every single action you do in these runs, it's purely intentional. Every single category, every action you do is extremely intentional.
That's a typhoon?
Ooh.
That's fine. Again, it's not time loss, just means I need to delay the last day of Jamie gifting until one more. Anyway.
So that's a really fun thing is yeah, every item you carry, everything you purchase, every person you talk to, it's all got a purpose. So having the base knowledge of the game first is really important. And then if you've got a Harvest Moon game that you have that knowledge for, it's pretty cool if you join our Discord and help build on the knowledge that's already there. Because we have a bajillion smart people that know a lot about their games of choice, which is always super fun.
Alright, so that's it for the Jamie gift spam. We are now going to sleep until fall 1, and then do some interesting things, kind of. So, you know, typhoons extremely don't matter because we're just sleeping every single day. This is what I like to call Wannaroos in 2023 simulator.
Yeah. Good night.
Also, yeah, the lone wolf note we've avoided until now, but it's unavoidable through the long run of this cutscene, or this run, so.
Mm-hmm. There are some notes like that that are unavoidable, and there's also ones that we try to watch out for that you can skip. Because if you mash hard enough, I think the lone wolf actually is one of them if you're keeping track.
Yeah.
But if you mash hard enough and you're going outside, you can skip note cutscenes. So that is helpful when you're trying to go fast. It's not helpful when you actually want to collect that note, because if you mash without, collecting it, it doesn't show up and you have to do the requirements again. So
it just so happens that on average, getting it once and then sleeping in your bed is faster than mashing out every single day and then sleeping.
Yeah.
So we just get it and then it's fine. Don't have to worry about it. Oh, so one thing I can mention. Go ahead.
Well, no, this was just it was a quip. I was just gonna ask, did you say Z sleeping?
Sorry, Zed sleeping.
There you go.
Bad Canadian alert. So one thing I mentioned earlier that like shipping certain crops right now can cause things to get a little screwy. Something that I found through my own trial and error is that when you get to inventory state 87, again, which is when you glitch your notes, when you're in that state, if you get additional notes, some really weird things can happen. One of them I think is like the same thing I mentioned earlier with breadfruit just disappearing from your shipped crops forever. One of them is that you get the Bob cutscene again, which obviously we don't want as much as you love Bob. It is time loss. And then the other weird side effect that I found happened is that, like, you know how like outside of Spring Farm and Jamie's farm, there's like rows of crops that they're growing, right? For whatever reason, if you get extra notes in that state, then like most of those crops just don't spawn in the overworld. So their ranches are just literally just like these big fields of land with like 3 or 4 crops spread throughout. It looks really funny.
You've plagued them.
Yeah, awfully weird, but. Again, that's why I didn't do anything from getting inventory state 37. I just went straight to the harvest goddess and then undid the dupe because there's you know a lot of potential for problems. Two more days of sleeping here.
Yay!
And then we're gonna be going to the workshop an awful lot.
Yeah, normally this game is much more exciting in terms of festivals you attend. There's a lot of excitement around spending time growing your favorite crop and then presenting it at this harvest festival and having a delicious soup together from stuff people have made and competitive sports. There's a lot of really cool stuff in this game, and we do exactly none of it in this run. Well, some of it's cool. But yeah.
It's all skipped, basically, to get to the important thing.
Yeah.
This is unskippable, this cutscene here. This is just, you get this at the start of fall. The only way we'd be able to skip this is if we could manage to glitch yam and eggplants into our shipped inventory, which, through my own experimentation, seems to be impossible. But if people have more information on it, like including like what different inventory states represent, I would love to hear it. I'm all ears because I would love to. Because again, I only did like a bunch of trial and error through my own testing. This game doesn't have a practice ROM or anything, so I did a lot of extensive work on my own trying to figure it out. So.
Yeah, and I'm pretty sure we found out, or having that mushroom soup recipe, I believe, is primarily a side effect of having the pot. If you haven't purchased the pot,
oh yeah,
I don't think it shows up because you need a pot in order to cook it. And I think it might be a couple other kitchen appliances as well. I'm not 100% sure which ones, but the main thing is that if you have the pot, you get mushroom soup on Fall 1.
Of course.
Our boys.
As you saw earlier, we're using the herb tea here to befriend Kurt. We could grow an extra turnip and befriend Joe instead, but I found it a little faster to just cook the herb tea. Where is it in my inventory? There it is. Alright, so we need to gift this 50 times. This is gift spamming that we were referring to earlier, where we gift things over and over and gradually raise the affection. And we just want to get Kurt up to 1 heart here. So I'm going to give him 15 herb teas. And that's enough to get our inventory up to, or get his affection rather up to 1 heart, and then we can buy the level 3 house, which allows us to buy the large bed, which is the real requirement here, is getting the large bed. One disadvantage of the river plot is in order to build a big house, you have to move your watering hole, and that's an extra day of construction. But even with that intact, like, it's still like so much better to get the river plot over any other plot in the game for this run anyway.
This is also why Joe and Kurt are the fastest marriage candidates, because for every single marriage candidate, you need to be able to unlock that large house, large bed, which you need 1 heart with the guys in the workshop for. Woody is also included in that, but we don't care about Woody.
Yeah.
And so the fun thing is that the 1 heart is obviously an achievement we get when we're trying to get them to 8 for marriage. So rather than having to gift to your chosen person and gift to Joe or Kurt, you can just do it all in one. And that's why Joe and Kurt are easy. We like easy men.
Joe is, yeah. Joe is the fastest marriage candidate, and then Kurt is not that far behind. Relocation. As I mentioned, we need to move this up, but it's okay because we're doing other stuff this day, so it's not a huge time loss. Just shove it up 1. Alright, so we are still duped. We have been duped since Spring 5. And now I'm going to undo the dupe for the final time. We don't do any more dupes at this point in the run. Like, we have all the money we need. We bought everything. At this point, the only thing we really need to do is grow the rest of the crops and ship them, and ship crops as well. And then build all the stuff and then buy the animals.
Easy. And as we had mentioned before, Jamie got a lot of the more frustrating crops out of the way early, also by manipulating memory states. So it makes it 10 times easier, especially, I cannot state this even more than I already am, getting strawberries through that glitch is huge, as we had mentioned. It saves an unbelievable amount of time. Actually,
yeah, it's ridiculous how much time we save just by strawberries on their own is like the single biggest time save. And then tomatoes is just nice to have. All right, so as I mentioned earlier, go ahead.
You can't purchase tomatoes, right?
No, you cannot.
I don't remember.
Now I'm going to, while we wait for the spring farm to open, I'm going to get my stamina all the way down here so that we can pass out as soon as we buy everything that we need from the spring farm. And it is faster to hammer on the road than on the property, because there's a recoil animation if you try to hit. Here, I'll show it off actually. After we get this tired animation, look. See that recoil animation? It makes it so like you can't spam the hammer as fast. So we want to do it on the road here. Alright, I get one more, and then I'm gonna whistle a bit. And then we get the extremely tired animation here, but luckily we still have lots of time. Give her one more whistle. All right, now we're good. And now we just wait for the spring farm to open at 9. And then start whistling. Hey, open up!
So as you see as well, the crops that you can buy that are already grown, those stay the same throughout the seasons, but the seeds that are available to grow change every season. As most Harvest Moon games, you have crops that just tend to grow better in different seasons. They've all got different colored sacks, so you have to look out for, yeah, exactly when to grow particular crops. And as I had mentioned before as well, you have the different soil levels of fertility. So you want to get the high quality crops in particular, which are important for loved gifts. You want to be growing the proper crop in the proper season with fertile soil. I'm pretty sure in this game you actually cannot even grow crops out of season, if I remember correctly.
No, they'll die.
So they die, yeah. Turn into weeds.
So sad. Here's Alex.
There's Alex.
So, as mentioned earlier, the cutscene here where you pass out to meet Alex is much faster than going to the hospital and meeting him that way. So you save a bunch of time. And I'm gonna mash out of the house to. What's that?
Yeah. And I said it also teleports you home, which
Yeah.
is really effective for a lot of the run as well.
We moved the watering hole. Very cool.
Yeah, I do love them being like, wow, I'm so tired, because in my mind, it's not just moving a watering, it's like they dug a whole new well or something.
Yeah.
Which is quite a lot of work.
Now we get to ship all these crops here.
And I believe it's in, correct me if I'm wrong, it's in the Japanese version 1.0. There you cannot buy any crops.
I have no idea. I don't have the knowledge to answer that question, unfortunately. Maybe
Desert would know.
Desert probably knows.
I'm fairly sure, because that was part of the testing for all notes, is that you have to grow every single crop.
Yeah, as I mentioned, we're going to make a couple trips to the workshop here, just to build the couple necessary things we need. Today it is the big house. Gonna remodel our house here.
Which color is your favorite color to pick?
I just picked Woody because it's the first one in the list. Alright, so this run is going to be going until about fall 11. Tomorrow, like, from now it's just watering the crops and building additional things from the workshop, and then we get the blue feather cutscene once we put out the big bed. All the other requirements are satisfied aside from buying all the animals, so we are smooth sailing from here. I think this is going to be a 140 exactly. I don't think I'm going to sub 140. But I think this will be about a 140, maybe a 141 if I have a bad mountain climb. Which is great. 20 minutes under estimate. We can get on to Mr. Desert doing his thing. Friends of Mineral Town. Yeah, we don't have any need for any other furniture at this point, so just move the bed and that's it.
We're really living that bachelor life up here.
That's what my apartment looks like.
Yeah, and another thing we had mentioned was the big bed that we're about to go get as well. In order to get that, you need this house. So even if you do have all of the other requirements met for your partner, you do need to have your house being mega large before you can actually unlock the bed.
Mm-hmm.
A nice thing as well to know if you're playing casually, which some people didn't, I found out a while back, but you don't have to level up to level 2 before you level up to level 3. You can just go from 1 to however large. I'm pretty sure it goes up to level 5 or 4. I think it's 4. But that builds an upstairs. I forget if there's a 5 or not, but it's nice.
And as I mentioned earlier, the town plot is so much closer here when you're moving it across. And then it just... So now the barn actually takes 2 days to build, so tomorrow we just don't even bother going to the workshop.
Mm-hmm.
Just gotta water it crops, unless it's raining. It's not gonna be raining. I would have heard the rain by now. Look at that, our crops are beginning to grow.
Yay! So pretty. Yeah, I know some common critiques of this game included the animation speed is too slow, the walking is too slow, and the characters look too young. Which is valid. I mean, they do all look 12. But I know that that chibi style was a big turnoff for a lot of people, especially coming out of A Wonderful Life. A bit more mature, both in and in look.
For sure. Have you been playing the remake at all?
I actually have not even bought it yet, I don't think.
Mm.
Haven't gotten around to it. I really would like to.
Mhm.
When we did have it as Game of the Month, I did play A Wonderful Life, and I learned Proposal for Celia. And I had done a run, and it was loads of fun. And I would love to go back to it, but I also, oh, don't tell Demo, I'm horrible. I still haven't finished Pioneers of Olive Town either. So I have a lot I have to work through still. I'm just super behind on all of my games. I just beat Tears of the Kingdom. I won't spoiler it for anyone. Don't worry. But that means I have to. I'm finishing up my side questing, all my completionist stuff, and then I'm going back to do Xenoblade Chronicles 3 DLC.
Maria's been playing a lot. What's that?
Of Zelda?
No, of the new Harvest Moon remake.
Oh, good.
Yeah. So she's been enjoying it.
Oh, that's awesome.
So the chicken coop is built. That's the last thing we need to do with the workshop. So we won't be seeing these boys anymore.
Say bye.
Right, just
Goodbye, boys.
Yep. So 2 more days of watering crops, and then we will move on to the mountain climb. So just, I guess, if Desert, if you're listening right now, yeah, about 10 minute warning on the end of this run. Of course, I get no rain in the first couple days of fall. Very sad.
Very sad.
That's how it goes.
And yeah, normally over the course of the year, you would see the town build up a lot more than what you're seeing here. There are so many more characters that join, especially after you go to the spring horse race. That brings in loads of people that come over summer and fall. And there are businesses that take up almost every single non-viable land piece in town. So it becomes a very vibrant, busy town with loads of people to get to know and some fun things to do there.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, the town stays pretty barren through the speedruns. Yeah.
So here, I could, if I wanted to, go outside and get the Theodore cutscene because it is sunny. It's guaranteed to be sunny on the festival day, and we do need sun to get Theodore. So I'm actually going to need to make sure it is sunny today. Okay, great. But I don't go outside on the 9th because it's a festival where if you have an affection with any villager, they come to your house and say, hey, do you want to go to the festival with me? And unfortunately, we have a heart with Kurt, so he comes to our door. So I need to just sleep on Fall 9, even though it would be very useful because I wouldn't have to pray for good weather RNG here, but it's fine. We got the sun.
I love that because you know it's Kurt who's like, he's built up all this affection and he's like, I'm gonna go talk to her. I can do it. And we're just sleeping.
Yeah, snoozing the whole day and marrying somebody else.
The next day.
Yeah. The only person in town who's meaner than Kurt.
Oh, that's really saying something.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you have Kurt and Blue is very similar. That's the one thing about the Bachelors and Bachelorettes in this game. There's a lot of matching archetypes because there are so many. So Kurt and Blue are both of those.
Yeah.
I'm gonna start off being all serious, but I'm actually soft interior. Now time for the worst part of the game.
So as I mentioned, this is the only other section of like pure RNG. There is like, you can avoid certain stuff and you can have good mountain climbs based on good execution, but it is, at the end of the day, it is luck if you get a good mountain climb or not. There's a lot of, so there's wind that can either, like, here's wind right here. It can push you up, but usually it pushes you to the left or to the right. And then there's rocks that will randomly fall, and then often the games will just put you into a situation where there's really just no winning, and you have to take a hit. But yeah, ideally you get no rocks in the way and you get the wind pushing you up. I think ideally like 3 times in a row. I'm gonna wait here because it's gonna push me into the rock. Just again, the game just saying screw you. Okay, here's an updraft, which is very nice.
What's updraft?
Not much. How about you?
Sorry.
Also, my name's not. Also, my name's not Draft. Just gonna wait here. Yeah. Okay. So we got 2 updrafts. I would say that was about an average, maybe slightly above average mountain climb. No complaints here. No complaints at all. Once you make it past that white line, like you're invincible. So yeah, the big thing is the wind also lags the game, so you want to ideally get there as fast as possible so the wind doesn't continue to lag as you're climbing beyond the finish line, so to speak. Yeah, there we go. There is the end mountain climb. So now we just got to go buy the aminals and then give the blue feather to Jamie.
Yay! So romantic. Awesome. Nothing like a beautiful bird's disposed body part to give to your true love.
Why do you gotta make it weird, bro?
Oh my gosh, just imagine going up to Jamie and sticking it in their cap. I love it. So yeah, also friendly reminder, as I'd mentioned, if you are in that glitched state where you cannot put anything into your inventory, if you Zed sleep or just put it in your inventory and you are glitched, you lose it forever.
Yeah.
Unless you go back to a previous save, because the game, as I had mentioned, believes that it has already provided it to you and there is only one in the game. So that's fun. Instant run killer.
So you noticed, I mean, at the beginning of fall, I undid the dupe as soon as I was done gift spamming to Kurt. And that was just because I needed to do that to get all the crops into my inventory. And then, I mean, it's just a consequence. We don't need a dupe anymore, so we can just get the blue feather in our inventory for free. But yeah, here's the last thing we do in the run before we propose to Jamie, which is get all the animals. And then we just go straight to Jamie. And the menuing here to buy the animals, I hate this menuing so much. It's awful. Very awful.
It's actually, I love menuing, and this is so...
That was pretty good. All things considered, I'm not going to complain about that.
Nice.
All right, so if we have satisfied all the marriage requirements correctly, Jamie will say, marry me, you're an idiot. If not, they will say either stupid, 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 or knock it off. So hopefully I haven't forgotten anything. Okay, good.
Oh yeah, and that's another fun thing. They don't take it right away.
Yeah, they say go to the harvest goddess first. But yeah, I've done so many runs where something wrong, a lot of things can go wrong. And actually in the last couple days, I had a couple practice runs die, and I learned new stuff about what can kill your run. So it's actually really, like, I think I'm in a state now where I, like, understand everything to a point where I don't think I can, intentionally or not intentionally kill my run. Other than that double dupe issue I mentioned earlier on. That's basically the only way your run can just straight up die at the moment. Yeah, this is it. So I know we're still running a little bit behind schedule, so I think we'll get our shoutouts and stuff out of the way right now. Thank you so much to the Harvest Moon speedrun community for allowing me to showcase this run that I basically kind of picked up and routed on my own because it seemed kind of cool. Shout out especially to Desert, because when I started doing any percent, he was very helpful in, letting me know all the stuff I needed to do and what worked, what didn't. Yeah, Desert was really helpful. Shout out to Lana for taking time out of her busy schedule to join me here. It's always a pleasure to hang out with you and chat and talk about this game that we both love so much. Shout out to you, chat. Keep watching. This marathon goes until, I think, late tomorrow. Okay, yeah, until about 7 p.m. tomorrow, Eastern. So keep watching. My name is Vidya James. I go by Vidya on Twitch, twitch.tv/Vidya. Very easy to remember. Follow me there. Follow me on Twitter while it's still alive. Vidya_James is my Twitter account. Yeah, that's basically all I had to say. Thank you guys for letting me show this run. Hope it was very entertaining to you guys. Lana, you got anything else?
Oh, for me, well, I'm actually not a streamer.
Oh,
Tired.
retired.
Yeah, I know. But you can catch me. We just finished off. I was volunteering all week with Games Done Quick, but I'm always around there, either helping host different shows or helping with various events. And same with Jamie, we're also both part of Zeldathon, which is great. So if you hang out at Zeldathon or Games Done Quick, you'll see me. Otherwise, I'm Lanaroos everywhere.
And that is time.
Woo!
GG. All right. Thank you so much. And there's not much else to see here, so I'll let you guys transition on to the next game. Thank you again for having me.